Yeah. Any
Hey,
sponsor, we'll take any
Brooklyn
sponsor.
Nets called me. I'm still waiting.
Wow. Please make that the cold open.
Timestamp.
Please.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Heroes Peak podcast. I am your host, Chris, as always here, and we're here to talk about entertainment, here to talk about culture, and whatever the hell we feel like. I'm here with my friends again. They claim to be my friends anyway. I've never seen them in real life. So we have Brooksy coming all the way from the West Coast. How you doing, Brooksy?
Doing great. I won Employee of the Month, so I'm really excited about that.
Is that before or after a detention for missing all your assignments?
That was before detention.
Oh, okay.
Good call out.
Coming in from the far north, about like an hour north of me, it's Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, I'm okay. Apparently, it costs $1 billion to ship anything for me.
Except by boat.
Yeah,
those special land boats.
I don't understand. I'm landlocked. I don't understand how the hell I was going to get here by boat either. But okay, try.
Do the Suez Canal and all the way up Nova Scotia.
They're sending it out the opposite direction. That's why it costs so much. It goes out.
It's in the same boat with the crabs that you see from those damn the shows on Discovery. Mike Shipman.
And finally, James. We're the same hemisphere, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're like what 7 hours away from each other, 5 hours, whatever.
Probably something like that.
Depending who's driving. My wife's driving, it's 3 hours.
James is
by the
driving
way,
10 hours.
Yes, 10 and 2. Happy
10 and 2.
Juneteenth, everyone. And also Sons and 4. Son.
You want to put some money on that?
4.
It's already done. Son.
Put some money on that?
Uh-oh. Mike's trying to recoup some more shipping costs.
Retroactive bets.
He's recouping all that medical expenses he doesn't have to pay into shipping.
Yeah.
2003 Yankees are going to win. We're up 3-0, man. And 4. Yankees in 4.
What could go wrong? Hey, man, Leafs were up 3-1. That's all I got to say.
28-3 the Falcons were up.
Right.
I almost won my office pool that game too.
Run the ball, damn it, run the ball. All right, anyway, let's say I just realized that's 2 Super Bowls that the Patriots won because the opposing team didn't run the ball. Damn.
Whenever you don't put any hands on Brady, he's gonna win. Giants know because they put their hands on Brady. All right, so we've got three topics we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the first episode of Loki. We're going to talk about they're going to talk about Spiral because I didn't do my homework. Yes.
Detention.
I already gave myself detention.
Fine.
And a wonderful movie I saw the other day. We all saw Infinite with Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, that guy. So before we get into this, I found I have this thing where I love charts and I love graphs and I love data. It's a weird nerd thing. OCD. So I went through and I charted all of our grades that we've done so far in 2021 because I had this idea that, hey, I bet you one of us or a couple of us are aligning really well, or I also converted the grades from Rotten Tomatoes into our grading system to see how we lined up, and amazingly nobody lines up with anything. We're all like 30% equal to the critics, 30% equal to the audience scores, and a lot of times we're not even near anybody else.
I like that.
So I just found
that just means they need to catch up to us. That's all.
That means we're independent thinkers. We don't follow the sheet.
Yeah, they're not doing it right.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I really thought we'd be closer to one set or the other, but you're not. We're just all over the map. So obviously we're not going to Rotten Tomatoes and making our our choices.
We're not about to spend 20 minutes going over spreadsheets, are we? I've been doing that all day, and
The interesting thing is the only person who was close to the audience score on any Zack Snyder thing is Brooksy. So
That's right. That's right.
She's part of that cult now. I can't
wait,
believe
which audience score?
it's my fault. I created that monster.
oh, Justice League.
Good.
Yeah, are you talking
Actually,
about the Rotten Tomato score?
the highest Rotten Tomato score of any movie that we've gone over this year. Can you take a wild guess as to what movie has the highest Rotten Tomato score? No, it's not Snyder Cut. I swore it would be.
I gotta
Snyder
look at
Cut.
the list now.
Quiet Place 2.
Wonder Woman.
Quiet Place 2.
Hang on, I couldn't tell you without looking at the list. So give me a second.
Tenet.
Tenet's not on there because Tenet we reviewed last year.
I'm gonna say either Soul or Raya.
Ooh, Soul. Yeah, I forgot about that.
No,
Soul.
no,
Definitely not Soul. That's too obvious. Army of the Dead.
No way.
No, it was absolutely Demon Slayer.
Okay.
No.
Anime.
I haven't finished that movie.
So converting to our system, Demon Slayer is A pluses by audience and critic score.
By the way, my grade for GVK is C plus. If you want to add that.
Oh, Godzilla
versus
Kong. Okay.
Yeah, I missed the pod, but I did see the movie. So
that may not be interesting to anybody else because I was gonna give out a little award for the person who was most audience favorite because they were linked to that, but it didn't work. Nobody was
you should be saving this for the anniversary show, though.
Okay. Well, we'll put up the chart.
Only halfway through the year. Got more movies coming out.
Yeah, this is like the halfway recap.
Yeah, but
halfway point.
Our anniversary is in August, right? So
it's our anniversary.
All right.
Whoa.
Or we can do it at the year-end pod. So it doesn't. I mean, either way.
That's all right. Well, we were gonna move on to talk about Loki episode 1. So Loki, the Disney Plus series based on the Marvel Comics character Loki, brother of Thor, son of Odin. Not really.
Never heard of him.
Frost giant.
Lefferson.
Lefferson.
Don't mess up his name, or you will get scorn and hatred from my wife.
So let's just say that the first episode came out this Wednesday. It will be coming out every Wednesday thereafter, and we're just going to give a little
technically tomorrow morning at 3
discussion of what we were thinking, what we thought, what you guys thought of that first episode. Spoilers be damned if you wanna toss out something spoilery, but it's only the first episode. So
yeah, we're gonna spoil the episode. So if you haven't seen it by now, where the hell you been?
That's right.
No?
It's already the next episode ready.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Knock that shit off.
So, Mike, what did you think of episode 1 of Loki?
Great episode. So better start definitely than Falcon and Winter Soldier had, and I'm gonna say better start than WandaVision.
Interesting.
I don't know if it will end as well as WandaVision did, but for a start, comparing all 3 series right now, I think this one had a better pilot episode than the other 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
James, what was your initial reaction?
I have to agree with Mike. My point was going to be is definitely a better start than WandaVision and Captain America or Winter Soldier. Sorry, Captain America, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
No, you're right, Captain America.
The 2 things real quick, without getting into deep lore, is Tom Hiddleston to me stood out immediately within the first 5 minutes of this episode as probably the best actor, if not the top 3.
Yes.
And I totally forget this because it's been a long time since we've seen him in Infinity War. An entire MCU, he stands among the GOATs. Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans. And and it was good, it was refreshing to see him again. And I didn't think I was gonna get that same feeling, but I got it.
Although I don't want to knock Elizabeth Olsen because she really unleashed her acting chops.
She did. But she had a little,
right.
that curve, whereas
Well, I think the thing about her, and we'll get into my quote afterwards, but her acting was what aligned to what type of show she was starring in. So her first episode show was a 50s family romp kind of thing, like newlywed comedy thing, and her acting was perfect within that realm. So she didn't have to do the super range of motion except for little hints here and there because that's not what it called for. And
not on the first episode, but as the series went on, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying. So even though it didn't stand out in the first episode, it was there, and you could see it as it compares to later on.
But Tom didn't have to do all that, the development. He started from the very first Thor movie, which I know Chris likes much better than I do.
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
I know that.
I like the first Thor,
and I respected definitely his acting in that movie. So to see this first episode, gut reaction was, wow, this dude reminded me why he's top 3, if not the top. And then the other gut instinct I had was they went deep into Marvel lore, like deep into it. And some people I went online like following, they're lost. They're like, what is this? Infinity Stones are paperweights? I'm like, uh-oh.
How great was that?
So yeah, my first reaction was Tom Hiddleston, bar none, one of the best actors in the game. And MCU now is willing to open up the entire freaking catalog of stuff that some people have never seen before. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right, Brooksy, what did you think of this episode 1?
Hated it.
I knew she was gonna say it, and just like that too.
That's why I said what I said before she went up.
What didn't you like?
She was gonna do it.
That deep cut was not a Snyder cut.
Not a training.
No, I'm one of those people that like I know surface level MCU, and I was so lost. I watched it twice and still was like, what the fuck am I watching right now? Like, what is happening? Why is there a time continuum? Why is there like I don't know, all of that stuff. I was super confused the whole time.
You liked WandaVision though, right?
I didn't watch WandaVision.
Oh, you should watch WandaVision. I think you'll like that one.
That's still not going to answer her question.
Right. It doesn't.
No, but as a show, just as a show, I think she would like WandaVision.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she would enjoy it, but still be confused about this one.
Yeah, I watched
Falcon and
Winter Soldier.
Thank you. I liked that one.
Okay.
So I'm actually gonna agree with Brooksy here in that
you hated
I thought it was a confusing opening. Not that like
Mike, stop it. Close your mouth, Mike.
Not that I couldn't follow it at all, because like I just kept getting hit with, oh, do you remember this from Endgame? Oh, this was my daughter said, I remember that scene. Where do I remember that scene? I'm like, you remember that from Endgame? No, it's not from Endgame. I'm like, oh, you remember it from Avengers 1? Oh, yes, that's where I remember it from Avengers 1. It really was chock full of, you kind of have to know what you're looking at to really get what's going on. And I understand, I remember all of it, where it was from and whatnot, but even the further it went, the more I felt like a newbie, like going, shit, there's so much stuff going on, and it's interesting. I want to watch it. It's driving me forward. That like, I'm not quite sure what's happening yet is really interesting to me. So like, I'm not turned off by it. I'm quite the opposite. I really liked it. For me, it wasn't the strongest opening. I really think WandaVision is my favorite opening. Like, Falcon and Winter Soldier had a great action scene to just kind of kick you into it. WandaVision, I think, was more, what's going on? Like, you're just kind of,
what's happening?
What's on the screen isn't questioning. It's just, why is it like this?
Yeah.
So it was more, whereas this one, it just kicked you right into the universe. Like, hey, remember this? This is what's happening. Remember this? This is now what's happening. Remember this? So it was a lot of just like punches in the memory to
So I'm going to counter your point there. Like, if you're not a fan of the MCU and you're just jumping into Loki, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, that's your mistake. You know what I mean?
except people were into WandaVision like that. Like WandaVision was able to draw
again,
big
that's their
crowd.
mistake. That's their mistake, though, right? To go, oh, I'm going to check the show out. I've never seen, Age of Ultron or Infinity War. Like,
no, what I'm saying is WandaVision was able to pull people in, even if they hadn't been into the MCU. And people,
Loki's going to do the same thing, right? But with the same level of confusion, though.
But it didn't do it in the first episode.
But you can't knock the show for that. I don't know if you can knock the show for that.
I think you can.
I don't think the problem is brand new audience. It's more of the general MC audience is having issues with this particular show and not quite understanding where they're pulling all these different characters, and all of a sudden the Infinity Stones that we've learned for like the last 10 years are like the ultimate be all. Now just that, I mean, I don't think it's somebody brand new like, oh, let's see what Disney has to offer. Let me click on this Loki thing. No, it's more like the regular surface fans, like, our best friend here, Brooks, who knows the general storyline. Now she's watching this. She has another deep comic book lore, and she may not remember all of the little Thor Dark World with that whole thing. That's what I've been seeing on social media.
So I get that. So what I expect from the show is that if they're going to continue with certain plot points that are confusing to the general audience, they need to do a good job to explain those, right?
That's true. That's fair.
Okay. So beyond that, if you're going in blind to this show, like, I don't know what to tell you, right? Like, you should have a basic knowledge of who Loki is, where he comes from, that kind of stuff.
And,
you know what I mean?
See, that's where I think you're wrong, is that a show should say, hey, like at the beginning of every show I've ever watched previously on, like I've watched your show for 6 seasons and now you're giving me a previously on. That's what they tried. They kind of did that. And honestly, as you went through the show, they did kind of, by filling in Loki, they filled you in a little bit, but it still was a bit messy. I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying it's a tough entry point to something that's really interesting.
Yeah. Chris, let me add on this little quick story here because I watched, as you guys know, I watched these shows with my son. Serena wasn't available. I know the comic book stories that they're pulling, the 80s, the time variants, Thor. I have a pretty good understanding of what they're trying to do. Eric has no clue about that. Eric just knows the MCU movies and maybe a few comic books here and there that he's read. He actually liked this episode better than I did. So I asked him, before the pod, like, what really intrigued you? Because to me, I thought it was a great episode, but it wasn't like, over the top. He was like, he liked Loki's character and the actor and the way he interacted in this new universe that they're building. I'm like, that doesn't, I don't understand. Like, are you not confused about the time variance and multiverses? He goes, doesn't matter. We've seen DC, all these shows have these this is a 12-year-old telling me this. We don't care about that stuff.
He's right.
We want a character that we care about navigate this crazy world, and we connect to it. And I'm like,
so Loki's going to be the grounding point for us within this new.
Exactly. And you're right. Like, if I didn't know anything about the time variance and the multiverse and of eventually King the Conqueror and what that means, I'd be like, what the hell? Like,
I think it's more of it's very odd for me not to get a lot of I'm like, holy shit, I don't know much of what's going on, and it's a little new for me, so that may be part of it. I actually have a question for everybody. One of the things I found the most interesting about the first episode, was one thing we learned in the MCU. We watched the Loki character go from his event or Thor 1 trickster god, trying to dominate the earth kind of guy, to Thor's brother. And okay, he really is kind of a good guy once you get down to it. He really just wanted his mom and his dad and his brother to accept him and all of that. And they did all that in one episode. They basically condensed his entire personal growth storyline for the last 10 years into an episode. So, because I was expecting to get the trickster god. I'm like, oh, that's my fun Loki. I think that's a great Loki.
He tried. He tried during the episode.
Right, and
You know?
but they compressed them. But I have a feeling we're going to get both Lokis, so which
Yeah.
I'm really interested in.
Chris, that's been a common critique online about this version of Loki. How in one episode, all of a sudden, he feels like where we left him in Infinity War. Like that was a quick, like you said, condensed. Yeah, one episode, he went from Avengers Loki to Infinity War Loki in the span of 45 minutes. A lot of people are critiquing that. That's exactly what they're saying that they don't agree with the show so far.
Yeah.
I think you kind of have to get him to be the good guy for this series, because he's also going to probably be fighting the bad guy, which is also him. But he's not a. I have some questions about that. My question is to Brooks. And what did you think of the character Loki? Do you like the two different versions? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say there are two different versions of the Loki character?
I
Quiz.
I do not. I feel like I need to take notes for my Ask the Nerds section right now.
Do you remember the first Avengers movie at all?
Yes.
Do you remember Loki trying to take over the Earth with the giant alien horde?
Is alien wars? What? There were alien wars?
Horde.
Oh, sorry.
I just remember him as like being mean mostly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's the guy.
Right.
And then you got this other guy who gave his life to defend his brother at the end. Like those are
Why do I not remember that?
You watch these movies with us.
Okay, so obviously, I'll ask you, did you see that kind of a transformation in the character that you saw on this episode 1? Did you see a character transformation?
But that kind of confused me. Like at the very end when they're like flashing his life before his eyes. That part.
Wait, but hang on. Why are you guys assuming he's gone from Avengers 1 Loki to Infinity War Loki?
Because he did. Do you watch the episode?
Not necessarily. He just came to the realization that when he watched that video of his life, he just came to a realization. That doesn't mean that he's necessarily that guy.
That's the change that
took. But the change
he has a conversation with Mobius saying, you know what?
But all the changes is that he looked at that and realized, well, shit, everything I wanted to do is for nothing. So what's the point?
No, but he saw his father accept him, something he's been trying to do for all of these movies. Right. He saw his mother die. The one person that he really connected to before anybody else. He saw his brother. He saw him
as he died.
Yeah, he saw himself actually sacrifice himself to by the guy who was just his employer an hour ago.
It's like Chekhov's gun. They gave us all of these scenes to qualify the fact that he's now turned to the Loki that we remembered.
We're not saying
we're
not saying he's White Knight Loki. We're saying that he has gone through the major changes that made him a willing participant to be
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that assessment. I think
say he's more like he's more on the Deadpool side of Loki thing than he was.
Which was where he ended up when he was dying anyway. I mean, we're arguing, potatoes. The point is, Mike's point is he doesn't believe that transition from the Loki that we knew at the end of beginning of Infinity War is a Loki that we're seeing at the end of this very first episode. Right. And I don't see how you don't make that connection, because they've laid the foundation to make you feel like he's seen the experiences of the Loki that's not him, the alternate timeline. And he came to a realization that, yes, like all is for naught. The conquering the world, conquering space, because the Avengers 1 Loki makes no sense. And he sat down and he was like decompressed, and he had a conversation with Owen Wilson, Mobius, thank you, saying, I've only done it because I thought this is what I was supposed to do, blah blah blah, and that's not really who I am. Again, and it's very obvious that they're trying to show you the transition, that this Loki now is closer to the Loki that we saw die than the Loki that came out of Avengers through the Tesseract.
Right. And he's in a place where they're basically able to shut down everything he thought was power, everything that for his life at this point that he thought was the ultimate power of the universe, they use as paperweights in desk drawers.
Right.
Like he can't use his magic. He can't do he's completely, his mind works. Obviously, he's able to trick people and do some stuff, but he basically gets broken like a wild horse. Gets broken because everything he thought was important and big and powerful is kind of just wiped in that hour. It's pretty crazy. They did it pretty well. I was surprised that they did that though.
Yeah. Okay. So the last thing I'm gonna say is I think it's more grief than transition, right? At that ending point of the episode.
We'll see where episode 2 takes
Yeah, we'll
us.
see. We'll see, right? I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. So, because I think you're right. It's a lot simpler than what I'm making it out to be, right? From a Disney point of view, right? So,
yeah, they do complexity, but they only do it in small bits.
Yeah. So, but that scene was fantastic.
Oh yeah, he was great.
Tom Hiddleston's acting when he's watching all that unfold, brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. I agree.
So my one question before we end this is, what are you excited to see? What tidbit did it go? Okay, what do you think will be the most interesting to see going forward? Is it just Tom Hiddleston's performance? Is it Tom Hiddleston or Lady Loki or his alter ego that he's chasing? Is it the time variant, the heads of the time variant masters, whatever their names are, timekeepers. What?
Am I on a nerd podcast or what?
People were confusing them with the Watchers. I was like, no, they're not the Watchers. No. Stop.
Is it Mephisto?
Yeah, the cathedral scene when they had the picture on the wall. I was like,
I think they did that on purpose. Just to throw.
So what do you think would be your most interesting going forward? You're excited to see.
I think for me, beyond Tom Hiddleston's acting, is I want to explore more of what this MCU multiverse is like, and that's me going full geek. Give me the Beyonder. Give me something more so I could chew on and feel like this entire 10 years that I've spent watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Kevin Feige is going to expand to something different, something larger, and I know this Kang the Conqueror, they might use this way to bring in the X-Men, whatever, but I just want to see this multiverse. I'm a true geek now. Give me more like geek shit about this entire universe.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah, I'm with you,
Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, is that what you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I want to see that expanded universe too, right? So,
Living Tribunal, fucking do not a cameo, but maybe a little Easter egg.
Yeah,
and
this one will be hard.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I'm interested in how this is all gonna tie into Doctor Strange 2 and Spider-Verse and all that good stuff. So,
and it will, it will.
Yeah.
I know this will be a tough one for you, Brooks, because you don't really have a frame of reference. But is there anything in there that they hinted at that you think might be interesting going forward?
I'm going to keep watching, but I'm looking forward to like understanding what's happening. That's my baseline at the moment.
Well, and I'm hoping that they say maybe it's on purpose that, okay, there is a lot going on, and the future of the MCU is this multiverse theory, and we've really got to get people up and running with this. So I'm hoping that they give a really good explanation. I guess for me, I'm actually interested in the dueling Lokis. I think that's a very interesting idea of the same character, especially one like him who's gone through this transition. And I
want to see a full on evil Loki. Full on. We never seen.
Well, I'm not sure if it's evil Loki because, like, all right, I did watch Emergency Awesome's breakdown and whatever of the episode, and what was a good point was everything that they were pushing on Loki was about freedom. Him saying that people don't deserve freedom, like that was his big spiel. He should be in charge because peasants can't really handle it, right? So he should just take over, no free will. Whereas that exact thing is actually happening right now with this time cops stuff, where they're choosing the timeline that they think should work and killing all the other ones off, snipping all the branches. So they're, in a sense, doing what Loki did and they've taken real free will out of the equation, saying everybody has to follow this timeline. So I have a feeling you're going to see bad Loki and good Loki trying to come around to this idea of free will, and maybe these time cops shouldn't be here, and they are actually the bad guys.
Listen, if it gets into a whole political science, I'm not in for that. No, free will versus no. Just give me the Marvel freaking.
No, I want the mental stuff. Give me the mental stuff. All right.
It's like debating communism versus no. Thanks.
All right, so
yay, communism.
Sorry, I don't
Edit
think
that.
Putin, I was hoping Putin didn't get near my drink. All right, we're gonna go for a break for a second. We're gonna come back, and you guys are gonna talk about Spiral while I just watch you. Hey everybody, we're back, and we're here, and my friends are gonna talk about Spiral, the newly released horror movie in the Saw franchise, starring Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. Let's see here. A criminal mastermind unleashes a twisted form of justice. Wait, isn't that the same? Isn't that just Saw?
Saw 1 times 10. Yeah.
Times 10. Okay. Well, I'm gonna hand this right off to you guys. I don't know who's gonna lead it, but it's horror movie, so I back away.
Listen, let's not get complicated. It's another Saw movie. This time they revamped the cast. It's part of the multiverse franchise, much like MCU. So it takes place in the actual Saw universe.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tell you where in a timeline it is after the last movie. We know that the original Saw, the puppet master John Kramer, died years before that. Actually died several movies before that. So we're thrust into this world where we know, this is the Saw universe, and we get hit with a bunch of serial crimes are happening. Chris Rock is a cop, and he's trying to figure out who's behind it. And then they expand into, well, something from his past may have led to the events that's occurring in the movie. Sam Jackson plays his dad, who used to be, I guess, police chief or the precinct captain. These movies can't quite tell. And the caveat with this is Chris Rock is playing a cop who is not well liked within his own precinct because he ratted out a dirty cop.
Right.
So the movie takes you where he's trying to solve this case, yet he's looked at as like the dirty inside cop. So we don't trust him. Maybe he's doing the killings himself, whatever it is. So that's basically the synopsis before we get into like the actual spoiler.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no choice.
Knock that shit off.
Stuff, Chris. Mike, anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, I'm gonna say I was disappointed. Like, as a Saw,
we're getting there already. We're getting there reviewing it.
Yeah, no. I'm not gonna give you I'm just saying, like, I was expecting more, but like, I mean, you're pretty dead on with the summary of it. I don't know if you missed anything. Like, when we get into spoilers, obviously we'll give it away. But
yeah, I don't want to get more than like the summary.
Yeah, I mean, like in terms of tone, like they kind of kept the tone of the previous movies, the soft lighting, the
jump scares, the
sound,
music, the
piano
crescendo as certain scenes are happening.
So they definitely tried. Whether or not it was successful, I will discuss in a minute.
I mean, I believe this took place in that Saw universe. Like,
it's definitely a sequel.
Yeah,
because they mentioned John, they mentioned Jigsaw, and all that stuff. So I just found like if we should just get into it, because
let's do it.
Yeah,
jump in.
Yeah, like the whole premise, like it was interesting, but it was still like I think it was executed very weak. I don't know if that's the right word, but like I told you, like in the chat after I saw it, I was like, this movie's hilarious. And it was like it shouldn't be hilarious to me, but it was just hilarious. Like, first off, Chris Rock's acting, this is not the role for him. He should not be doing these types of movies.
No.
You know, I
No.
love Head of State. I love his other movies, his comedies,
No.
right? But this was not the role for him. And Samuel Jackson was just like
Getting a paycheck. It's like you watching
yeah,
Capital One commercial.
yeah, you know, and my son would walk into the room, like he watched it with me, and he would be like, "Well, basically, I'm just waiting for Sam Jackson to say motherfucker." That's all. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to from him, right? Because that's a highlight for him. So, and then the bad guy. So full
The
spoilers.
spoiler? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
So the bad guy who's recreating the Jigsaw is a cop as well.
Yeah.
And it's Chris Rock's new partner.
New partner, rookie cop.
Right, rookie detective. Well, rookie detective, right?
Rookie detective.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the rookie detective who, when he was a kid, his father got killed by the cop that Chris Rock ratted out.
Yeah, so Chris Rock, when he was earlier, his partner, who he eventually ratted out, killed this kid's dad, cold-blooded murder, and planted some evidence. No, I think he was about to turn against he was a CI, probably.
Yeah.
Turn against the cop as being a dirty cop.
He witnessed the cop doing
So
his
Chris
best
Rock
stuff,
was
right?
in that area, wasn't involved in the killing, but when the shooting happened, he looked at him like, "What the hell are you doing?" He goes, "Yeah, he had a weapon." And then Chris Rock looks inside and sees the kid and knows what. This is the dumb part. Tells the kid to and hide.
Yeah.
Like, you already know your cop is a dirty cop. He's killing people cold-blooded. So now this is where. So my issue, Mike, and I don't know if you're done, is two things: Chris Rock and the narrative.
Right.
The narrative. Let's go back to Chris Rock. Chris Rock, I know in his latter years as an actor, he's been trying to do these Tom Hanks transitions. Fargo, for example. I watched Fargo. I don't know anyone else who watched Fargo. And to me, he was the weakest part of the Fargo series. I watched it with my sister Trisha, who's on this podcast. And her and I agreed on the same thing. You can't get away from the fact that he's a comedian trying to become a serious actor, but his mannerisms are still like he's still like the loud, angry, punchline Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Like even when he tries to be mean, you still can't disconnect. Like he doesn't do the full Tom Hanks acting where not slapstick physical humor, where he just now all of a sudden his body just drops and you see his face, you see the gravitas on his face. Chris Rock hasn't mastered that yet. So going to this particular movie, the beginning of this movie is a comedy skit.
Yeah.
Chris Rock is telling the audience about God, freaking escapes my mind. He's basically doing a comedy show as he's a detective at a scene, cracking jokes and people are laughing, and that sets the stage for you to look at him as like the Chris Rock we know in real life, and not the Chris Rock who's playing an actor whose father was a cop who retired. He's trying to be his father. He had issues with the precinct because he turned a dirty detective. Like, you don't even know about that until after this comedy skit. So it's hard for me to believe that this dude is really going through like the emotional pains of what he went through in his character's life story. The second part to me is the plot. The rookie cop and the fact that he was a kid. Like the previous Saw movies used to do it pretty well, where they connected the final twist with little Easter eggs they dropped throughout the episode. Like at least the first three Saws. After that, it became like Fast and Furious, like fucking ridiculous. Sorry, Brooks, but this one with the twist, like they just tell you at the end, like, yeah, this is the reason why the rookie cop decided to become the next Jigsaw puzzle. Which you didn't even say. You're supposed to infer it because of the music is playing. Yeah. It shows you the flashbacks. Yeah. It shows you Chris Rock being there when his dad got killed. And the fact that he went to, like, to me, is no longer like a thinking man's type of horror movie. It is more like blood and gore. And how many ways can I skin and kill a cat? Literally skin and kill a cat.
Yeah. And I don't think we should even give away the complete twist because beyond finding out that this cop is the killer, like there's motivations of who he kills right throughout the film.
Yeah.
So and the final kill, like I don't even think we should give that away.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, it was a lose-lose situation compared to the previous Saw movies where you had an avenue to redeem yourself if possible, right?
Mhm.
Lose a limb, whatever it is. And this one is going to be a lose-lose regardless.
Yeah. And I don't even think so. Even the way that final kill was set up, Chris Rock had, I think there were other options for him to save everyone. But I don't know, maybe it was just.
Hold on, Brooks, did you watch this movie?
Huh?
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, let's get your feedback. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I did. That's why I'm not muted, you know.
Oh, so what did you think?
Listening to you guys talk.
No. Let's get your opinion.
Yeah, I didn't realize you saw it. Sorry.
I did see it. So,
Mhm.
okay. I had a little bit different of a take, but mostly because of the circumstances under which I saw it. So this is the first movie that I have seen in the theater since the theater
wow.
shut down. Yeah. So
Okay.
I was very excited to just like be at the theater. Took my boyfriend for his birthday. This is like our big outing because
Congrats, happy birthday, happy belated.
Happy birthday, yeah. Mhm.
Thanks. Well, I don't know why I'm saying thanks. It was last week. So that part was just really exciting. You know what I mean? To like be in a movie theater, like be eating movie theater popcorn, try to get mozzarella sticks. Those shits were probably left over from last year. But anyways,
pre-COVID mozzarella sticks.
Pre-COVID mozzarella sticks. So I was just like, I felt for me, like I was more just like excited to like see a movie and be in the theater. And I assumed that it was going to be much like the previous Saws, which are really like scary movies can be really hard for me to watch, especially when they're like on the realistic side. You know what I mean? The like crazy ones or whatever. Like that's like it doesn't affect me just because it's like it's so far out that I feel like it's not realistic. But Saw in a lot of ways can be very realistic. It's like that can actually happen. And so when I watch it, it's like, you know, it's very scary, whatever. But this one, it was more like, it was interesting. Like it was really fascinating for me to see like who was getting killed next and to like try to connect the dots. Cause you know, I knew like, obviously having watched Saw movies before, you know, there's like a rhyme and a reason.
Real quick, have you seen all the previous ones?
I've seen probably like 1 through 3.
All right, so that's the good ones. You've seen the good ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you know, like to connect the dots, right? You know, like there's a rhyme and a reason as to why things are happening. So I'm trying to connect the dots, and like it's kind of like you guys said, like they just weren't all there all the time. Like it was like, oh, that's a stretch. Like that person got killed, and that's kind of a stretch. Or like it's, you know what I mean? It was interesting. I don't know. I also agree with Chris Rock. Like I really, really wanted to like him so much as a serious actor. But like I don't know. And I was trying to think, is it because I just hadn't seen the other Saw movies in so long that that's kind of how the acting was? But then at the end, I was like, no, it just like wasn't connecting for me.
Yeah.
And like, especially the very end scene with Samuel L. and like what happens, I was like, the whole time I'm like, this poor old man, like, why do they have him in this contraption? You know what I mean? Why is he like this? Like this poor, that's all I could think about. Like just poor Samuel L. like having to go through this. I was like, he doesn't need a paycheck, that much I know. So like, why? I don't know. That's, you know, like,
that's a good point.
I mean, maybe he does. I don't know. I don't think so.
It was like a Capital One commercial I was looking at.
I know.
It was probably a favor to Rock though, right? Rock probably said, "Hey, will you do my movie?"
I wanted to play my dad.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to be my dad. This is my only shot. Let him play my dad.
I mean, I've also heard interviews before with Samuel L. where he's like for Snakes on a Plane, for example, someone was like, "Why did you do that movie?" And he was like, "It was the worst like title of a movie ever." So I was like, "Fuck it, I'm in." Like, you know what I mean? So sometimes he can choose his movies based off of just like something whimsical. But like I didn't connect. I wanted to connect more with it than I did. I felt like I was trying to at the end. But mostly I was just excited to see a movie in the movie theater, really. And like again, the end, it was like who was the Saw person or whatever. That was interesting. I was like, oh, that's like that made sense. That's good. But I don't know. And
it made sense. Like once they reveal who he was, but then when they try to tell you why he did it, you looking back like, really, dude? Like,
yeah,
right. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it's like it kind of makes sense, but I don't know. Yeah, it was like it didn't like. I was just like, that seems like very not minor. Like it's not that what happened wasn't minor, but like to go to being Saw all of a sudden, it's like I feel like there's a lot of steps.
He was like John Kramer had the right idea. I'm like, dude, he was a serial killer. Like you're going from like avenging your dad's death to like straight on being a serial killer.
Right.
Like, that's like when Batman had a terrible day plus Ultra. That made no sense. I think we're ready for grades. I think we're ready for grades.
James is over it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think though. Was there any reason for him to be a cop, to do what he was
just
doing?
To get closer. He goes, I wanted to protect Chris Rock's character, which he didn't do. He didn't really protect him.
Yeah.
Right. He definitely didn't. But see, I actually thought that was interesting. That he put in all of that work. Like that was kind of fascinating to me.
That was unnecessary work. He was so smart. He was so smart to put together this entire the contraptions and the plan.
Yeah.
But when you take a step back, like he really wasn't that smart. There's better ways that he could have gotten his vengeance done than this whole. Like the one thing I love about the first 3 Saw movies is you get this because when John Kramer is still alive, you see the plan and then you understand why he's doing it. Yeah, you may not agree with it because he's evil shit.
Right.
But it kind of makes sense from his point of view because they build you, they give you little nuggets of what's happening to him, and then they sprayed it throughout each of the first couple of movies, and then it came out the straight gore. What's the craziest way you can kill people and some weird contraption, and then like this to me wasn't any different. It was just more like let's throw blockbuster actors like Chris Rock and Sam Jackson.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's not enough to sell me on this being like a great horror movie. Not at all.
Yeah, so
I don't know, Mike. I think we're ready.
I think we're ready for grades.
Yeah. So for me, it's going to be a C-. It's kind of disappointing for a Saw movie, right?
I mean, for me, it's a D+. I'm not ready to give an F.
I'm
not ready to give an F, but D+.
I'm only going with the C+ because I saw it was the first movie I've seen in the theater in over a year.
Skewed your experience. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I feel like if I was sitting on my couch watching it, I would have been like super annoyed.
I'll be honest now, and I know Chris is not. Tenet to me, going back watching the movie at home versus the movie theater, I think my grade originally was high because of that movie experience when I watched it. So Brooks, I definitely get what you're talking about, being in that movie theater for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. It's a great experience. Chris, are you writing these grades down? I don't want to get detention.
Well, let's we'll go to break. Oh, there he is. I was gonna say we gotta find him. But
I was here all along.
He was a Saw killer all along.
That's right.
Play the music.
All right, so why don't we take a break, and when we come back, what are we doing?
The last movie,
Infinite, that's right.
Yeah, let's keep on the 15
little
minute
Marky
time
Mark and the
one.
Funky Bunch action.
If wanted, an old guard had a baby.
Yeah,
that's
basically.
Right. All right.
Hey everybody, welcome back. And there's 3 of us here to talk about Infinite, the new movie released on Sci-Fi, right? Or Sci-Fi. The new Sci-Fi movie released on
Amazon, right?
Amazon
Paramount.
Prime.
Paramount Plus.
Apologies, Paramount. Paramount. Please sponsor us.
I can't keep them track anymore.
Sorry, Paramount.
If you sponsor us, we'll remember all your movies. So this is a sci-fi thriller starring Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch and Chiwetel Ejiofor. A man discovers that his hallucinations are actually visions of a past life that he is forced to remember and fight for the against the destruction of the world. Right?
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is there this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no choice.
Knock that shit off.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Life.
Curve the bullet.
Curve the bullet. Yeah, I was sitting there and I'm like, okay, I was talking to my son, I'm like, I have to explain to you some of the wildest shit that's going on. So let's start here. Like let's talk about the first act, because this is really a movie of seriously 3 acts that were just completely different. So the first act is a great off the wall, totally stupid, but just crazy action, sci-fi action movie. What did you guys think of the first act here?
I like the first act. I thought it was pretty intriguing. I was like, all right, buckle my seat. Literally, buckle your seatbelts. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Same here.
And I like the actor that they gave us a little flashpoint on. He used to play MTV Teen Wolf, and I know he had an accident filming one of those weird sci-fi teen movies.
Dylan O'Brien.
Dylan O'Brien. I had no clue that he was in this movie because it wasn't in a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw him in the opening scene, I'm like, oh man, he's back and he's healthy. Great, let's go.
And then he's gone.
And then he's gone again. I'm like, F you motherfuckers.
Right? They didn't even give you like good flashback scenes, like some flashy stuff later on, but it really wasn't solid enough that.
But if you look at IMDb, the top 4 actors, he's one of them. He's listed there for Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, he definitely. Speaking of the Wanted, like Mike brought up, that Wanted level, turning the Ferrari around so he can shoot out the window of the helicopter and then spin him back around, like that whole car chase scene. I was like, okay, all right, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's be crazy, let's be stupid. So
exactly.
And then they give the rest of the movie to Chris Terrio.
I think that was the best part. They just didn't care about anything. Traffic lines perfectly. There's a crane just far enough away off the bridge. They're not explaining anything. So I don't know.
Like
if
a Fast and Furious movie. Like
it was Fast and Furious, yeah.
Yeah, without Vin Diesel.
And now the other part of the after the Fast and Furious section is the whole Mark Wahlberg introduction. What did you guys think of this introduction of the schizophrenic trying to be a manager at a restaurant instead of just like looking for a dishwashing kit?
It was fucking stupid. This is where the Chris Terrio level of writing is shown to me in this movie. I'm like, so they hooked into me that opening action scene, right? Mm-hmm. Then the next scene is you see not only Mark Wahlberg's scene with the wannabe a restaurant manager, but his audio narration throughout that.
Oh.
This is the worst guy, because Pain and Gain, to me, as much as I love that movie, the worst part was Mark Wahlberg and his narration of that movie. You know what?
It would have been better if they had Seth MacFarlane playing the teddy bear doing the narration.
That would have been better. It would have been I don't know, Mike Wallace from CBS 60 Minutes would have been better than Mark.
Bring me Morgan Freeman, damn it.
Talking about his schizophrenia, dude. That's when I was like, uh-oh.
Oh wait, Morgan Freeman was in Wanted, wasn't
he? Yeah, he was.
Never mind.
But it's like they had all this contradictory story alignment, even when they did like, okay, so he finally gets to beat up some drug dealers. Fine. Okay, that's fun. But like the whole idea that he's down and out and he's got to find a thing because he's got this horrible past of schizophrenia and some violence, and he's got no money. It's his last chance, but somehow he's got a place in the city that he can do some blacksmithing, not just regular blacksmithing.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about it until Chris
had a whole
it.
setup to make a sword, a katana.
You know how much that cost? Right. He's got to have, not only
he folded steel 60 times
because he said it was in his deep unconscious that he had the memory. I'm like, I have a conscious where I used to freaking, I don't know, build tanks. I'm not gonna freaking build a and like armory, start building tanks.
Well, right. It made sense that he would make it to sell it, right, to get money. So I guess the whole theory is he's taking these skills and profiting off of them, right?
But was he?
Well, he took the sword to the drug dealer guy to get pills. Remember?
But he got like the lowest possible price for some. That's like a $10,000
I know.
sword.
Yeah.
Like you go on, you put that up for auction.
He was selling it for medication, like
right?
Because our human,
So
healthcare
how long-
in U.S. is that bad.
So I guess the question is, how long does it take him to make that sword if he has to make something every
Folded
month?
60 times. Yeah. And
It-
how many
it-
pills does he use per month?
It took Hattori Hanzo. It took him 1 month to make his sword.
Yeah.
So
every
Joe.
month he's got to make the sword just to get. Does the guy want a sword every month? Like, there's like a lot of questions I have about this whole thing. Anyway,
yeah.
so what do you guys think of this sort of like? I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Last Airbender, but it's sort of that. Hey, do you remember your past life? Let me put these things in front of you
Right.
and see if they.
That's not what I thought. So I
cling
watched
of memory.
this particular movie with, again, Eric from the podcast.
Mm.
And him, just like his older sister, automatically equated to Lost. Lost had a moment in that series where they were trying to connect certain characters to the island, and they did the same thing, trinkets of stuff. Which one is yours? Which one do you know? If you're connected to the island. John Locke. If John Locke was the chosen one of the island, the compass, the pipe, was like the book, the Bible, whatever it was. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, who wrote this shit? And what show did they watch that thought they would be cool? Maybe it was Airbender, maybe it was Lost, but either way, it was terrible. Terrible.
And then we get another great like Fast Furious level action scene, but with a sci-fi twist. What did you guys think of the moving steering wheel? She hits the button and the steering wheel disappears.
Well, the whole car was very cool because you could see the armor came out in front when they went to Ram.
Yeah, the Batman armor.
Yeah.
The Batmobile
so I thought the car
armor
was cool. Yeah, and his,
like that
his you didn't like it?
No.
I thought
It was trying too much. I thought it was trying too much.
Well,
because they didn't build the science in this world up until this moment.
It's just whatever they feel like it is.
Yeah. Well,
and then we're not talking about later on in the movie where all of a sudden this dude actually has superpowers. But
okay,
but just
we'll get there.
Just the mechanics of that vehicle, to me, I was like, wait a minute. I saw Dylan O'Brien's vehicle. Like, why did he have that sort of like vehicle? Like, what time? In my mind, I'm thinking maybe that accident happened 30 years in the past. So
that's what it has to
technology
be, like,
caught up where they can do that now. But they didn't connect
that would
that
make
to me.
Mark Wahlberg 30 years old in this movie, right?
And that's the point. Mark Wahlberg was reincarnated. So that means whatever his character, let's say he's 30 in a movie.
Okay.
So the events from the beginning of the movie happened 30 years prior to that.
Yeah.
So
They look like the 80s. Well, I guess the 80s is 40 years
So
ago.
I have to believe that the vehicle, that technology existed because, evolution. But again, I'm jumping. I'm doing my own jumping conclusion.
Weren't they talking to each other on cell phones?
Yes.
Miami Vice had cell phones.
Yeah, but they didn't have big Motorola bricks.
All right. See, now
they were using.
Now we get into poking more holes at this.
No, but now I'm really confused, right? You see where I'm getting at?
Yeah, there wasn't like I felt it because he had the Ferrari. I was like, is this kind of Miami Vice-ish?
Yeah, like
that's what I thought.
okay.
Chris, that's exactly what I thought. It was like 30 years difference, maybe longer.
And this it doesn't necessarily have to be like happening in 2021. It could be like 2025 or 2030. It's really, you've got some leeway now where 30 years ago isn't the Stone Age anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it would seem like the technology didn't match what they were trying to.
Well, I don't think there was any
portray.
consistency in the technology in this, as we'll get to.
So we'll chalk it up as their group had advanced tech like they do in their island, right?
Yeah, I
don't know. I guess
this is one of those sci-fi things where it's whatever we feel like looks cool, we'll put in, but we'll still fight with swords. You know what I mean? It's that level of sci-fi. People like swords.
I thought we've gotten better than that in 2021.
Well, the man had soul-sucking USB flash drive bullets.
Yes.
So
yes, that were saved in an archive of these little mosaic-looking bathroom tiles.
Okay. So let's say this: that Chewie Ejiofor, his character's purpose was he was All right. We'll rewind.
Yeah, he's the
The
antagonist of the entire.
The entire movie is called the Infinites are two groups that basically get reincarnated mentally when they die, and
no, not mentally. They're souls.
Their soul, the mentally they remember their past lives eventually as they grow older. And Chiwetel Ejiofor and his group of completely unnamed people in black outfits and a pretty woman.
They had a name.
They did have a name.
Believers versus the Nihilists.
No, not the group. I mean the people. Like he had no named associates. Did he ever use?
Yeah.
I don't.
It was like, you're right. They were just talking to each other. They never named each other. You're right.
That really tall woman, he just stood there and talked to, and she just like stood there.
Oh, we'll get to that later.
Like she had zero personality.
We'll get to that with female action stars.
So anyway, he hates that he's still doing this. Apparently, he personally comes and remembers as starting in the womb, and he wants to end the world because of
he's
this.
Thanos plus Ultra. He doesn't want 50%. He wants 100%.
Except what's killing me is that he's got two things going on. He wants to destroy the world so that he doesn't reincarnate. And yet he creates a mechanism to kill other people that prevents them from reincarnating.
Exactly.
Like,
and it's not just people, by the way. It's all living organisms.
No. His gun, his special
gun would stop him.
My bad.
His gun would allow him to do the thing he wants to do without having to kill the entire world, just by pointing it at himself.
Yeah, the egg is the other thing I was thinking of.
Yeah, so he had the egg created because he wants to stop it. I was like, okay, I get that. He doesn't want to get reincarnated, whatever. It's a bad plan, but that's fine. But then they come out with this weapon he has that could do the thing he wanted to do, which is prevent him from reincarnating.
Yeah.
But it's not like they said, oh, they're alive in there. Like they're being tortured because their consciousness is alive in the computer. They just said they're in there and they're stuck. Like, I don't get what's going on if you're going to create these competing things that work again. And this is where the whole second act, the storytelling, the narrative is really screwing up the storyline here. Instead of keeping it simple, they made all these complex sci-fi bits that just
they did too much world building. Too much world building. Like that's the problem. Like we talk about a lot of these movies about the set, the screen, the stage building, world building, and how you can connect with certain characters. And again, I don't know if it's based on an original graphic novel or not, but they did way too much in this particular show, in this movie, where it got to the point where you had no idea what was happening. Like you don't know what to believe because it was so inconsistent between scene to scene to scene as you're building this world throughout the entire movie, all the way up to the final act. They're still building this world in a final act.
Well, here's another bit. So he captures all these people. He puts them in their USB drives. He puts it in his office.
Mm-hmm.
If you know where his office is, just shoot a missile at it. You have a helicopter with missiles.
Right.
You don't even need to kill him. Just shoot the missile and everybody is back. So the entire second act is basically trying to get Mark Wahlberg's character to remember the information his previous life had, whether it's through a training montage, trying to open up his chakras, or whatever. Of course, I got bits of Mortal Kombat. Let's train him until he opens up his memory, put him in the computer, and then just sit here for months and months and months instead of going, you know what, if he can't find the egg, then he can't find the egg. Like, okay, like we don't need to do anything. The good guys didn't need to do anything,
right?
Like if they did nothing, he never would have found it. We'll jump into the
third act,
yeah,
which is this sort of trying to get back to where the first act was in being a wild action set piece, like the entire way through, but with lots of stupid decisions and misuses of technology that they had. So Mark Wahlberg is shot. Everybody else is basically dead. So the what's her name? Sophie
Mora?
Cookson,
Yeah,
like Mora,
Sophie.
decides to go with only a sniper rifle and try to kill Chiwetel Ejiofor. Fails because, of course, he's got some weird precognitive superpower or something.
Mm-hmm.
Another
Now we
thing-
get into like weird supernatural ability.
Doesn't really
Force is with him.
Right. Something doesn't explain at all, but he's able to dodge the bullet. And then she's got no other weapon when she's attacked. Her only thing is she grapples to, he sends out these drones. Then you get this cool like drone control scene. I thought that was like kind of neat future technology thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then they don't actually do anything. And then there's a whole bunch of guys in black armor. Again, faceless.
Like, dude, like, why we gotta show these black visors and like we don't see their faces?
It
Like,
basically gives her people to steal guns off of.
I don't care if it's a stunt double. We don't care about how they, like just show
Yeah.
it.
But again, there weren't really, she didn't do anything super interesting with it. But then, like, I don't know. There was just a lot of, oh, hey, okay, so let's bring a helicopter up. Okay, bring a helicopter. What's it? It's got missiles and guns. So what we'll do? Okay, they'll shoot down the drones and then wait.
You rain fire, man. Rain fire.
Well, they did, but later.
No,
like,
they should have. They should have
like immediately. Do you guys remember the Rambo movie with the giant Russian attack helicopters?
Rambo 3.
Yeah, Rambo
where they're
3.
going after each other and they're shooting missiles and they're firing like that. Give me Airwolf. Like, give me the Airwolf.
Airwolf, nice.
But,
Yeah, but I don't think, again, this Chris Terra level of writing, they were just trying to give you a Mark Wahlberg. Like, that third act really was about Mark Wahlberg's character. It wasn't about the two females. And I remember I was texting Mike.
Oh, that was the worst.
That was the worst fighting ever. Like,
Oh.
it was like two freaking stick figures doing the worst capoeira fights I've ever seen.
That was
And I'm like-
MK21 level.
And I'm like, what the hell is this supposed to be like the third act of fighting scenes? Like, but then I realized later on, oh, they're saving their best moments for Mark Wahlberg's shitty character.
Oh, okay. Let's do this. I laughed as soon as I saw him take the dirt bike and Chiwetel Ejiofor took off in the plane. I said, oh shit, he's gonna jump onto the plane.
He was.
And he sure did. He jumped onto the
Sure
plane. And then for some reason, they decided that Mark Wahlberg has a Spider-Man superpower. Can you guys
Spider-Man, the
Can you
Force.
guys can you guys
I don't
explain this
know.
to me? I don't get it.
And they tried to tie you to a small scene at the beginning of the movie that no one really paid attention to.
But
where it looked like
what
Dylan
did he even do
O'Brien-
in that scene?
Yeah,
I
Dylan
don't even,
O'Brien was driving his car, I don't know, 125 miles per hour, and he's like putting his hand out and feeling the wind. I do that shit sometimes too.
right. I don't know what
I'm
was
not
he
getting
doing.
superpowers from it.
Like, I don't know. Like, I saw weird lights on the screen, but you didn't show me the effect of him doing
what does that
that.
mean? Like, exactly. Like, is he connecting with some other level of power that no one talked about in the entire movie?
He
That's
too has
connected
the
to the
Force.
infinite?
Yeah,
He's
it's not
also
like
got the
it's not like the whole time they were like, we need you because you connect. He managed before he died to connect to this upper level of being, and we haven't achieved that yet, and only you can do that. No, nothing.
Nothing. He just stands up Captain America style on top of that plane, moving at sub-Mach level, and he's able to walk with the sword in his hand. And I'm like,
Okay.
oh, he's got superpowers.
And to make it worse, that's all he uses it for. The best part is you get the skydiving action. Everything breaks open and they both jump out of the plane. And he uses his magic sword again to pop open this thing. I don't know what the egg does. What is the egg, a detonator? Is the egg a timer? It's a little egg timer.
Egg timer. Ding ding, you're done. That whole skydiving fight to me was ridiculous. Like it was just stupid.
Not even like great ridiculous.
They look stupid.
Yeah.
They both actors look stupid.
Yeah, right.
I'm ready for our grades.
All right, let's do grades. I'm gonna let Mike go first. Mike, what
So
do you
I'm teetering between like a D plus and a C minus on this, but I'm probably more towards a D plus. So
Yeah.
I
right.
was expecting more, and I was just let down. So
All right. James, what about you?
F.
Oh,
damn.
Worst movie I've seen in a long time.
No, I could name one. No, just kidding.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. The night's almost over. Don't go there.
Wait, what? What I missed?
I'm gonna go D plus.
Okay.
D plus because I liked the first act. I thought it had some fun stunts.
It wasn't long enough for me.
But
really, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It really could have been a lot more.
No, hold on. I want Chris.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it at least had fun. Like I had some fun, crazy, stupid stuff I could laugh at and point to. And
the first act made me feel like this movie. Well, not even the first act. The Dylan O'Brien section made me feel like this movie was going to be Wanted plus Old Guard, which is what we talked about offline. And we, instead of Wanted and Old Guard, we got Army of the Dead plus Ultra.
Yeah. So when you get a chance, guys, look up the writers of this movie. The three guys who wrote this movie.
Chris Terrio.
Look at their
John Terrio and Ralph Terrio.
All right. But you'll understand why this movie's so bad when you look at their.
You should invite the employee of the month back on.
Yeah. Brooksy,
you might have inside information on who the writers are.
There she is.
I was napping. My apologies.
So no, that was not Mookie we heard snoring. That was you.
We'll see. All right, everybody. We're going to head out for the night. Thank you for joining us. Mike, where can they find us?
All over the internet at Heroes Peak, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
Use Google, damn it. Just
Spotify.
Figure it out.
Yeah, that's Google Heroes Peak will be the #1 result.
That's right. Leave a comment, click a button, click
like
subscribe.
And subscribe, share our videos, let people know.
And eventually wear our merch. Have a good night, everybody.
Merch is coming out. Merch is coming out.
Merch. Don't forget For Loco. Call me. I'm still waiting.
That's right. Yeah. Any sponsor. We'll take
Brooklyn Nets. Call me. I'm still waiting.
Wow. Please make that the cold open.
Timestamp.
All right. Good night, everyone.
See you later.
Later.
All right, y'all.